Welcome to the book of Yehoshua, chapter 24, the very last chapter of the book of Yehoshua, where Yehoshua gathers the people of Israel and the elders, just like Moshe did, for a grand finale. He calls them to the city of Shechem, and he says words that are very famous. You probably heard these words at the Pesach Seder and Haggadah Shel Pesach. He says, Me'ever ha'nahar yashvu avotechem, your forefathers lived on the other side of this Jordan. Terach avi Avraham, Terach is the father of Avraham, Vavi Nachor, and your forefathers used to worship idols. And Hashem took you, he gave Avraham the land of Seir, he gave Esav the land of Seir, he gave Avraham and Yitzchak and Yaakov the land of Israel. You were slaves in Egypt, and Hashem brought you back to this land. He gave you a fully stocked country. The houses were filled with goods, the fields were all set. You got everything really packaged. You got a lot of things that you didn't work for. And you should be thankful to God, and now you have a choice. You can either go back to the ways of your forefathers of worshiping the idols of the other side of the river, or you can now stay and serve Hashem with all of your heart and all of your soul. But remember, God, Hashem, is a jealous God. So that means that if you're choosing the path of Hashem, there are no backsies, and He's not very forgiving. Meaning, if you do not sin, if you do not do the mitzvot, then you get punished by God. So He says, really, this is the choice that you have, and I want you to choose. You have the choice of opting out. And the people say, Vayan ha'am vayomer chalila lanu me'azov et Hashem. Heaven forbid that we should ever leave God, and indeed we choose the path of Hashem. We remember all the kindnesses that He did for us, and we remember that He helped us defeat the Canaanites, the Amorites, etc. And Yehoshua tells them again, remember, if you're worshiping Hashem, there's no way out of it, and there's not much forgiveness for doing the wrong thing, in the sense that if you do sin, you're going to be expelled from the land. And they say, of course, we choose the path of God, and Yehoshua erects a stone as a monument to testify to this choice of Bnei Israel, and he sends them off each to their share, each to their portion, and Yehoshua then dies in the estate that he had for himself. It was called Timnat Serach in the mountain of Ephraim. Yehoshua lived 110 years, and he served Hashem all those days. He also is the one who, it also concludes that all the bones of Yosef, which were brought all the way out of Egypt, were also buried in Shechem, in the part of the field that Yaakov bought from Hamor, the father of Shechem, and it was in the portion of Yehoshua, in the portion of Bnei Yosef. And finally, it ends off with another symbol of this generation coming to an end. Elazar, the son of Aharon, dies, and they bury him in Givat Pinchas. So this concludes the book of Yehoshua. Again, the chapter starts with Yehoshua assembling everyone to Shechem, telling them where they come from. They come from the other side of the river. They used to worship Avodah Zarah. They were slaves in Egypt. Hashem fulfilled His promise to Abraham, gave the land to Jacob and his descendants, brought them to a land that was not theirs, gave them a land that was fully stocked, fully equipped with everything, and they now have a choice. Do they want to serve Hashem or not? And if they do serve Hashem, they must remember that there is no forgiveness for mishaps, and they get expelled from the land if they don't, as well as this is something that they must stick with. Finally, Yehoshua also tells them, you got to remove any idols, any gods that you might have with you. And he also tells them that now that you choose, he's going to build a monument to testify to their choice of Hashem, their God. Yehoshua dies at the ripe age of 110 in Timnat Serach in Har Ephraim, in the portion that was given to him, and so does Elazar, the son of Aharon HaKohen, die. The bones of Yosef are brought to Shechem and are buried in the field that Yaakov bought from Shechem, the father of Hamor. That brings us to the conclusion and very end of the book of Yehoshua. Thank you so much for listening, and indeed I will see you in the book of Shoftim as we continue this series.